Oregon State, UCLA. How does Dante Moore handle Corvallis? Right? I mean, this is a tough ask for a talented quarterback who's had kind of an up and down season so far for the Bruins.
DJU hadn't exactly been lighting it up either. Like I think the Corvallis thing is interesting, but I think the matchup here is, can Oregon State run the football versus UCLA's defense, which to me is the story of UCLA's season so far.
I agree.
It's the best defense in the Pac-12.
Ooh, I like that take.
With Utah's injuries taken into consideration, obviously. Like I think healthy Utah probably, but those guys aren't on the field anymore.
Yeah, I haven't finalized the ballot yet, but I mentioned it earlier in the show. Our midseason All-American team, I might have 3 UCLA defenders on my first team defense. They've been that good. Whoa. But it's going to be interesting, like DJU as the battering ram into this UCLA defense, because I do feel like that's going to be the game plan.
You know, another true freshman lit these guys up last week. Cal's third stringer, Mendoza. He started the game. Cal scored 40. They had like almost 500 yards offense. They ran for 240 and threw for like 240. Oregon State's defense has got problem, guys. They're not nearly as good as they were.
As good as they were last year?
Yes. Like I think there's a noticeable downturn in defensive quality for Oregon State this year.
And I do think that makes it an interesting matchup too the other way, because like I think Oregon State's defense is struggling more against the run, and UCLA's offense, while like passing wise, I don't think it's great. We've seen it on the road. It's really struggled, but I do think they can run the ball pretty effectively on the road. So it's your typical Pac-12 battle. Who can run the ball better? I mean, because that's really what this will probably come down to.
I think every game we've talked about today has been like 2.5, 3.5 point home favorite, which is why I don't feel great about any of them, because no one knows anything. It's like, the home team, give them the edge. They're really great matchups.
I know. And this is, it feels like a big, like questions will be answered this Saturday. Like we'll learn so much. And even if they might be misleading information, the impact, like what a Miami win or a North Carolina win would mean for each one of those teams, what like UCLA going into Corvallis and getting a win, what that would mean for the Bruins as they continue to march forward and try to join that picture. I mean, it's fun.
Midterm Saturday.
Did you know? I think you guys might have talked about it. I wanted to hit it before it possibly isn't a scenario. The 3-way tie of 3 undefeateds in the ACC.
I've already figured it out.
Do you know the last one?
Oh, it's the draw at the commissioner's office.
Is that Jim Phillips, like drawn out of a hat? Here you go. Here's
so like that scene from Friday Night Lights where they're at the car dealership and they flip the coin.
The word from the league office, as I understand it, is we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. What I'm interested about is the tiebreaker right before it, which is the win percentage of your conference opponents. And that's where Louisville loses. Louisville finishes undefeated because they have a soft schedule, and Louisville then takes that soft schedule down to tiebreaker number 5, and that ends up falling short because Florida State plays Clemson and North Carolina plays Clemson. And I think that is going to be sort of the deal breaker right there, is that, and they both play Duke. They both play Clemson. Florida State and North Carolina, if they go undefeated in ACC play and Louisville goes undefeated in ACC play, based on the way things are heading, I think that Florida State and North Carolina will have a better combined record of their conference opponents than Louisville will.
And these are rules we need to familiarize ourselves with, because, I don't think it's going to happen this year in the ACC. Once we go to the 18 and 16 team leagues where everybody's not playing each other anymore, it's going to be happening a lot more often. Dude,
I was saying, let's get rid of the conference championship games. If we expand the playoff and all these leagues have 18 teams, we don't want to have the scenarios of the team that all of a sudden is like we already have had I was sitting at home, Ohio State. We've already had the Alabama. I was sitting at home on conference championship Saturday, and because somebody else lost, now I'm into the college football playoff. That is going to happen more with a 12-team bracket and 18-team conferences. I know that there's still a great television deal, the conference championship games, but if that is something that I was looking at with this ACC thing is I don't think we need conference championship games anymore.
Yeah,
I love the question from Tripp. He's speaking my language right now. If that scenario unfolded, Louisville gets left out of the ACC championship game, but they're sitting there with wins over the Big Ten and wins over the SEC, powerhouses at that over Indiana and Kentucky. They're in, right? Undefeated ACC team?
Easily, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of us think it happens, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, but the commissioner draw does sound hilarious. But also before that is Sports Source Analytics determines who's better. So like if the analytics company also says that they're all tied perfectly, then all of a sudden you get to the commissioner draw.
And if Sports Source Analytics would like to be the analytics provider for other conferences in the future, it's not going to let it go to tiebreaker 6 in the commissioner's office. They're going to pick 2.
Right.
Like, let's use some business sense here.
We can't decide.
Yeah.
We put all this information in and we still don't know. They're going to know.
It ain't going to get to Jim Phillips.
The computer said shrug.
98.7 point, like it's going to be right down to the decimal.
Florida State Clemson for some reason. I don't know. And we've got.
Oh man. Any other? Do you want to talk about Iowa, Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's a huge game.
It is a game of.
See the number? That is pretty wild.
35 and a half.
But that one and that Wisconsin's an 11-point favorite, 11.5-point favorite. That's pretty wild too.
I mean, what's the implied there?
19 plus 5, so like 24
23,
to 13. Yeah,
That sounds like a correct score.
yeah.
I mean,
Gross, disgusting display.
You're getting to the point with Iowa where you really can't project an offensive touchdown. I mean, like, I guess in theory, because of the short fields the defense creates, but they didn't complete a pass to a receiver.
They tried though, and you documented it on Monday.
Yeah,
they tried 6 different times.
They should have had one completion. Like the kid, the ball hits the kid right in
hands.
It pops up and goes for a pick. But the other 6 were not competitive throws. Danny, have you watched them?
Yeah, there was some. The misses were like wild thing in Major League. Like
he throws helicopters.
Wow.
Every pass looks like a helicopter rotary blade flimming around. It's like, it is terrible.
Yeah, the lack of anything resembling a spiral is concerning in some ways if you're trying to play.
We're analyzing quarterbacks at the Power 5 level.
I was talking about like early downs with Texas A&M earlier. You'll never believe from an EPA perspective who the worst early down offense in college football is. Can you believe that it is Iowa? Oh, wow. Nobody saw that come. They can't.
But that implies that they are better on passing downs, which I really can't believe, right? Like there's no way that Iowa is better on downs and where the defense does not have to take the
They rank 130th on passing downs and 133rd on first.
Wow.
Of all FBS teams.
Of all FBS. They're terrible on offense.
If you're worse than Sam Houston in any offensive category, that is probably a fireable offense.
Incredible.
As far as the matchup is concerned, I don't know if Wisconsin can cover because I really don't know how many points they'll be able to score in this game because like Rutgers did a pretty damn good job of slowing the Wisconsin offense down last week. But the matchup wise, like Iowa's defense is Iowa's defense, but it has been better against the pass this year than against the run. So if Wisconsin takes the ball out of Tanner Mordecai's hands and just kind of hands it off to Braylon Allen and leans on that, they should win this game. And it also probably limits their ability to turn the ball over, which is something like, as you mentioned, but Iowa will be completely dependent on in this matchup to win the game.
So Noah Shannon, the Iowa defensive lineman, has been cleared to practice with the team. Is he going to be able to play in this game?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know why they would word it like that.
Right. They would have said cleared for Wisconsin. They wouldn't have said cleared to practice.
Maybe they're hoping for an appeal to go through or something, but I wouldn't anticipate it.
Famously quick moving appeals process that has always worked out.
We should hear by 2027.
So let's say Shannon eligible to play sitting at plus 300. Go bet it.
I'd go 500. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe.